morning, everyone. This is Kathy Mason from MasonWorks Marketing here on Conscious Business Zone. And I am so excited to introduce you to Teri Angel. Hi, Teri. How you doing?
Hi, Kathy. I'm doing fantastic today.
I'm so excited to be able to talk with you. And then we've been talking about that you're here in the same town. So hopefully we get to meet in person really soon. I've been following your work for so long, and I'm a big fan of Marbeth Dunn and Ruth Anderson. So I'm so glad it's like you're the three amigos or something.
Yes.
Amigos, whatever. So for everyone that doesn't know Teri, I want you to know she's a renowned peace alchemist, which I call myself a conscious business alchemist. So I love that whole terminology. She's an energy healer, and she's a founder of Angelspeakers Inc. and 10 million, a co-founder of 10 Million for World Peace. She's dedicated her life to igniting global transformation through inner peace, angelic guidance, and intentional community healing. And Teri is a digital nomad, so she's going to tell us a little bit. I hope you're going to explain how this lifestyle, how this whole thing happened, because there's so many people that would love to follow in your footsteps, but they're frightened to do that. I mean, you're a courageous young lady to do that. So could you share a little bit about your journey so people can get to know you a little bit?
I sure will, Kathy. It's a delight to be on here with you today and for all the listeners that are out there. So as Kathy said, I'm Teri Angel. I chose that name, Angel, because I've connected with them my entire life. Ever since I was a child, I've talked to angels, I've seen them, I've had intervention by them throughout my lifetime. And they pretty much just guide my whole journey, whatever that looks like in my life. I started channeling messages from them about a decade ago. And I continue to do that through online events and personal in-person events. Right now I'm here in Boulder, and I'm looking at the possibility of holding an angel circle. And also we're doing peace walks monthly. I was sharing with Kathy before we went on the air. There's one coming up this Saturday. So if you're interested in in-person peace walk, I'll be doing that this Saturday. So as I've listened to them throughout the years, they've never steered me wrong. It's always been amazing, actually, to connect with them, to feel their energy and know that they're right there beside of me every day as I go along. It's not a religious journey per se. It's a spiritual journey. I do believe in a creator and a higher self. And I'm always asking for guidance and trying to stay in alignment with the values and the morals of serving a higher God. So as I listen to them, they have shared certain things with me along my path. And one of those is the journey that I'm on right now. I know Kathy mentioned that a lot of people would love to do something along this line of going out into the world. And when Kathy gets back, we'll talk about how that began, because I think that will be a very interesting thing for people to understand, is just how this journey began in the first place. And it all starts with listening, that inner voice that we can tune into and get guidance from. We do it through the stillness, the quiet times when we're not talking as much as we are listening and tuning in to what's being said so that we can fully understand it. I'm also an author, so I write what the angels tell me. And about, a little over 3 years ago, they told me to start taking a message every night from them. They channel it through. So I did. At night, I sit down, and it usually happens late at night. I sit down and receive a message from the angels every night. Well, there's some nights that it doesn't happen, but that's special circumstances. As I sit with them and I listen to what they say, it's guidance for the whole world. It's not for me. But of course, it includes me, but it's guidance for everyone. And they're so funny when they deliver their message. Sometimes they do get serious if it's something that we're discussing that's a really heavy topic. But for the most part, they tell us to lighten up. They say, you humans, you take life so seriously. Just laugh. Laughter raises the vibration. The more we can laugh, the more we enjoy this thing called life. And we're not here to suffer. They've made that very, very clear in their communication, that this is a life of learning, experiencing. And yeah, some of those experiences are going to be hard. This is what we signed up for. This is our opportunity to have soul growth. Growth, as we know, is never easy. If you relate it to physical growth, just remember what it was like being a child, a baby, and then into childhood. As you grow, it hurts, right, Kathy? It hurts to grow physically. Well, sometimes it hurts to grow spiritually as well. But it's all worth it, because it is the bigger the challenge and the experience, the bigger the soul growth.
Perfect.
So that's what I always say. It's like if I'm going through what I call a fire, one of those challenges that just really burns, I know that I'm going into another level of my soul experience and my soul growth. So I welcome them. Sometimes I do it with clenched teeth, but I do welcome every experience that I have.
Oh, well, I wanted to ask about trusting. I've been fortunate that I also have been guided by a team. And I know from 8 years old on that I'm totally aware of it. And I at first asked everyone around me, did you hear it? And when they didn't, I just shut up and took the advantage, because it is an advantage, really, to have feel like somebody has your back, and to know that you can bounce ideas almost off of, while you're making a choice of, do I go on this part of the journey or this part of the journey? You actually have resources to help guide you. Do you feel like that's what your angels are doing with you too? And how can other people connect to their angels?
Oh, great question, Kathy. This is a journey of trust. This whole experience that we're having, they're teaching us about trust, trusting our own inner guidance, trusting that there are actual angels that help us. And I've got a million stories about angels and their intervention. But what I figured out, and it took me a while, and actually it was just this past year that I had a major breakthrough with trust. What I figured out is everything that they're showing us and that we're experiencing, if we go into the trust energy, and I've heard it called the trust factor, and it's true, it is something that's real, that we can really have that aha breakthrough with, that when we trust and fully say, okay, I can't do it, right? I can't force this to happen on my own. But if I let go and fall back into that trust, I can see miracles every day happening. I can look back over the journey. I can see how everything that I went through fell into place to bring me right here, right now. So as I tune into them, I physically hear them talking to me. And so I've asked them many times about trust, and their response is always, stop trying to fix it. Stop trying to make it happen. It's not your journey to fix anything, to change anything. It's your journey just to be and allow. A friend of mine taught me the AAA. She says, take that AAA with you everywhere you go. And the AAA is accept. That's number one. Accept that you are a spirit being. You are a divine spark. Align with that. Have your energy come so in alignment with choosing, and it's a conscious choice, to be fed by spirit, to know that you're walking on this path, not alone, that you're in alignment with something much higher than this physical body and physical experience. And then allow the beauty, allow the changes, allow the miracles to take place. Accept, align, allow. And I say that every day. It's part of my being now to say that. But this past year, I realized that as I went out on this journey, first of all, I wasn't alone because the angels were with me, even though I was driving the car alone. And everything that happened, I would check in with them. Am I supposed to stop here? Am I supposed to visit this state? Am I supposed to do this land blessing, which is what they have me doing, building a grid throughout the country? And everything that they showed me just felt good. And when I say felt good, it's your intuition. Some people call it the gut instinct. Kathy, I'm sure you understand about that. When you feel that, and there may be a little bit of butterflies if it's something challenging and out of your comfort zone, but if it feels solid and it feels like, yes, I can get behind that idea, I can honor that as part of my journey. So many people ask, am I on the right path? How do I know what my path is? How do I know which way to go? Well, it's trusting that divine spark inside of you that's going to give you the confirmation that, yes, this is what is in your path. This is here for you. You chose this. Many times I say, we came here for such a time as this, because a lot of people do ask, I don't know why I'm here. I don't know why I'm here with all this chaos and turmoil and wars. Why am I here? Well, you chose it. You chose to be here, to show up, to shine your light, to be positive instead of feeding into the chaos and the negativity. That's why you're here. So if you've been asking that question, then sit with that, with what I just said. And another thing that the angels told me is stop asking why. Stop asking why. Because when we say, why God, why is this happening? Why did that happen? Why is that going on? We're putting ourselves, first of all, in a doubtful situation because we're saying, I don't know, which we don't know everything, but we're saying, I need to know. So when you say why, there's a need implied. It's also a lack implied. Why don't I have enough money? Why don't I have this or that? There's a lack that's showing. So they said, instead of saying why, ask, what am I supposed to do with this? Or what am I supposed to know about this? What would you have me know? Angels, show me. And that's more of an open-ended discussion than asking them a why question where you're expecting them to give you all the answers, right? When you're saying why, you're expecting to hear back, okay, this is why, Teri. But if I say, what am I supposed to know right now to help me through this situation, to help me understand it a lot better, then they can work with us because we're open to whatever their guidance is that's going to teach us.
That's so perfect. That's so perfect. I think people don't, I think people have a whole team of angels that are behind them that are twiddling their thumbs, waiting to be asked, but not why. Why isn't very productive, and it's kind of a victim question rather than the excitement of something new. And how do I make this change exciting and stay in that? Because that's what you attract, right?
Exactly. You attract what you put out. If you're putting out that you're a victim or you're in that lack, of course, you're going to see more of that. If you say, show me something, teach me, help me to understand, then you're going to get what you need to help you understand, to help you trust. And I love, Kathy, that you mentioned the team of angels. We all have guardian angels. We have at least one guardian angel that comes with us in this human experience and is with us our whole lifetime. And many people have more than one. Some people have a whole team. I think I have a team that like just hides their eyes and says, what is she doing now?
That's one of those mimes that people put up, and it's like, oh no, because I do believe you finally get to the right place, but you may have to take this strange journey to get there.
Absolutely. And we can get to know our guardian angels. It's so beautiful that they want us to interact with them. They want us to acknowledge them. We don't pray to angels. We don't worship angels. Angels were created as our helpers, as our messengers. And there's many levels of angels. I actually teach about angels, Kathy. And every month, once a month, on the second Wednesday of each month at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, I bring in a different angel and explain how to get to know that angel better and the characteristics, how you can recognize if that angel is showing up for you. This next week on Wednesday will be Archangel Michael, which many are probably familiar with. The best known angel, I think, of all time, right, is Michael. And so we'll be working with his energy. And again, let me back up. When I say his or her, when I refer to an angel, they don't have a gender. Us humans put that on them. And they appear to us however we're going to accept them. If we can see Michael as this strong guardian, protector, then, of course, we're going to say he, right? That's just what we do. And so this coming Wednesday, we'll be talking more about Michael and how to work with that energy of protection, of being guarded, of feeling safe. And when we talk about trust, that's huge, because that's our root chakra kicking in that says, if I go out in the world and put myself out there going on a peace journey or whatever journey, it's a little scary. And Kathy, I want you and all of our listeners to know it doesn't have to be scary. When I started out, when I heard the message from them to do this journey almost 5 years ago, I've been on the road for 5 years.
Wow.
I had no doubt, no fear, no anxiety, nothing of that sort. There was more excitement and curiosity. So I invite anyone who's hearing an urge, a little nudge to do something different out of your comfort zone, go into it with that, with excitement instead of fear, with openness instead of trepidation, to say, what's the best that can happen, right?
So let's talk a little bit about the peace conversation, because this is part of, we're in a chaotic external world right now, and so many people are highly sensitive, and I do believe the first part of the ascension is going to make more people empathic, and they may not have a way to guide them to peace because they don't know how to shut out, and not creating boundaries necessarily, but go to a place where they can think clearly because they're being pulled in other people's directions. Could you talk, because you are a peace alchemist, could you talk a lot about, because I think right now, I mean, there's, you're blessing us with a perspective of how to live our life without suffering and in excitement, to have the full human experience. And so I want to get all the good all the good information for everyone so that they can really get maybe new tools or new aspects to consider on this journey.
Absolutely. Peace has so dear to my heart. I've been a peace ambassador for over 11 years. And then this past year, 2024, I became an international peace ambassador. So peace is my jam, some might say, is what I'm all about. And so when they told me to go out and spread peace and bring peace, more peace into the land, I was all over it. I'm like, of course I will go. I didn't even hesitate. There wasn't 1 second of hesitation. What I have learned and what I teach is that peace has to begin inside of each of us.
Mm-hmm.
We can't wave a magic wand and make it happen. Nobody can state an edict and say, okay, now there's going to be peace and it's going to happen. It starts in here. So working on your own inner self, bringing that peace and calm into yourself is the beginning. Once it starts in here, then it can spread out to those that are closest to you, your close circle. They're going to see a change in you. That's the alchemy that happens. When you have an energy of peace instead of chaos or upset or anger, all of those low vibration energies, it affects everyone, those near to you, those that are out in the world. It affects everybody. So the beginning point is finding peace inside. I found it through meditation. I just have some very, very beautiful spirit guides. Yogananda, Paramahansa Yogananda, if you're not familiar with who that is, please Google it, look it up, find this beautiful teacher that walked among us and taught peace and taught us how to go inside. There are so many resources that you can pull on, that you can find out how to meditate, how to sit in the stillness. It's not going to happen in the chaos. It happens in the stillness that it comes in. A very big part of this is it's not shutting out the world. You invite in everything that's in your world because that's you. The world is us. Neville Goddard says everything we see, every person we see, that's us pushed out. That's us experiencing aspects of ourselves. So you don't deny the chaos. It is happening. Wars are happening, conflicts, people doing evil things to other people. We don't deny it. We bring it all into our experience. And then we say, what do you want me to know about this? And then we start to really process it and say, okay, if I focus in on all of that that's out there, if I focus on the chaos, the killings, the mass destruction, then I'm going to continue to see that, and I'm going to continue to feel all this angst inside of me. If I say, what can I do? I'm one little person. What can I do, right? What we'll find, or what you will find, is that one person vibrating at the highest level, which is love, affects 750,000 other people. Think about that for a minute. Your vibration going out into that collective pool of all that's happening in the world affects that many people. When you put out that positive energy, you do make a difference. So you are becoming a peace alchemist if you pull in the peace instead of the chaos. If you focus more on solution than always talking and yakking about what's happening, maybe listening to others talk about it, listening to news reports, just constantly feeding your energy with all of that chaos, you're going to find yourself in that state of chaos. If you focus on sitting in the stillness, listening to spirit, asking the questions that you want answered, and then just sitting back to receive. You have to have the quiet to be able to receive. So quiet yourself enough that you can be guided into a place of peace in your heart. When you have the peace inside, then it'll affect those in your close circle. Then it expands beyond that until you're seeing more peace in the world. It is there. There's good things happening everywhere, every day, every minute of every day. It's just that that's not the focus, right? If we tune in to any social media, news media, that is not the focus. The focus is on what's going wrong. I say, let's put the focus on what's going right so that we can become more peaceful ourselves.
Well, we're creating this whole play, and we forgot. We forgot. And so, excuse me?
We forgot that we did that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what basically you've been doing all these years, and I've been doing all these years, trying to help people find their way back to remembering that without guilt, without any judgment about themselves or others, and finding a path to love first for themselves and then for the whole creation, so that it can heal. Do you, in your healing modality, could you talk a little bit about that? You have a healing modality called Time Heals, right? Could you talk a little bit about that for us?
I would love to. So, as I mentioned, I talk to the angels, I hear the angels. And so I was at a place in my life where I had been through one of my fires, a really big fire. And I was really doing a lot of soul searching. And I heard this message that I was a healer. And I hadn't been trained in healing. I had like level 1 Reiki, but not really to where I could affect other people with their energy. So there was one day I was out in nature and I kept hearing messages, and it kept coming. And I'm going, okay, you angels, you're really funny right now. like you're giving me something here. I feel it. I know it's huge. I have no way to write it down. I have no way to, I'm not in front of my computer where I can type out what you're saying. I said, if you're giving me this, which sounds really big, help me to remember it when I do get to a place where I can write it down. So out in nature, outside under the open sky, just me and God, I received this download that was a complete healing modality all at one time. They just kept bringing it. And so when I was able to rush inside and sit down with it, I remembered everything they told me. And when I had it all written out and I look at it and I just sat back and I was in tears. And I said, how is this possible that you gave me this? I remember every word and I've got it all right here in front of me now. How is that possible? And they just kind of laughed at me, which they do a lot. And they said, this is not new. This is you remembering that you have this inside of you. This is not something external. This is what you carry. You've done this lifetime after lifetime after lifetime of bringing in the healing for others to experience. I'm not the healer. I'm a conduit for that healing to work through using this structured modality. It was very structured, and it goes through all of our energy centers. It does opening and clearing and balancing, and then infusion of the angelic energy into our systems. So they told me, start doing it like immediately. Start finding people and offering to bring in this healing for whoever wants to experience it. And I immediately had people that said, yes, I want to be the guinea pig. I want to experience what you're bringing. And so I did. And I worked with this group of people for 7 days straight. Every day we would meet on Zoom and we would go through the whole process of the healing. And it was so beautiful. And then I took it out into the world. And it's in almost I think about 20 countries now that I have trained people to work with this modality. And I will be doing a training at the end of this year to teach it again. I try to do them at least once a year. I didn't do one last year because I held a lot of retreats and other trainings. So this year we're going to learn Time Heals again for anybody that wants to be involved with it or learn this beautiful modality, because it really gives you something solid that you can like say, okay, I know what I'm doing here. I'm working with your energy centers. I'm bringing in this clearing. And that's Kathy, you said something about that earlier, to release what we don't need so we can bring in what we do need. So this modality provides that. It's opening up and seeing what's going on. And I teach people how to feel their own energy fields when we're doing this. So you can really have a lot of information and a lot of education about how our spirit works, how our bodies work. And it's just a beautiful modality that I love doing. I do it all the time with clients, with private clients.
Oh, it sounds perfect. And it sounds like this is what's going to help us right now get to the new earth, because we're going from this this energy of competition and competition, warfare, judgment, to collaboration. And the collaboration is when you see kindness and the unity consciousness of oneness everywhere. And once you're experiencing that, you can share that. And in a lot of cases, what you're doing is you're opening up the path for people, so in system, to heal themselves, because you're releasing the energies that are stopping them from healing themselves, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. All healing comes from inside.
Yep.
And that's exactly what I teach when I work with people. I'm not your healer. I am the conduit for your healing. I take no credit other than just being an open vessel and being willing. And that's so huge that when we open up ourselves to that without fear, there may be a little bit of butterflies, like I said, but losing all fear and going into trusting totally that this is my path. This is what I'm hearing. This is what I'm being called to do.
That's perfect. That's perfect. So one of our followers on LinkedIn says, time heals, time gives you answers, time gives you everything you want. And I would say your name, but I would mess it up. So I hope I hope you're okay with me not naming you, sir. But but what I wanted to ask, are angels different beings than humans? Are they a different type of being that's never been a human? I mean, I know some humans that are angels that chose to embody, and I've been able to see people's aura before, and see the rainbow around them and know that they're Elohim. I mean, I don't know where I get everything I get, but I trust it now. But could you tell us what you know about angels, so that people could have a little more idea and trust their connection with them?
Absolutely. Angels were created before humans were created. So they are different from us. We humans have to have like a label. We have to have a name. We have to have some way to put form to something so that we understand it more fully. So that's why sometimes when we see pictures or paintings or depiction of angels, we see them like us, right? We can relate to that because it looks like we do. But angels are spirit. They are total spirit. And I remember the first time that I sat with the angels as a child. I've done this ever since I can remember, actually. I don't remember not being with the angels. when I would sit with them, I would see a glow first. And it was like, if you've ever watched any of the sci-fi movies, they like depict like sparkly light. Well, that's kind of what I see when I see them, is sparkly light. And then they show me like this essence, if you will, of what they are like. So let's say when Archangel Michael is near and we're having a discussion, or he's just coming in just to offer a hug or protection for me, I see a color. First of all, Michael always comes in with blue. I always see him just this beautiful blue essence that sparkles and moves, and they're very fast. So they're not, sometimes they will be still with us, but most of the time they're moving because it's energy, and energy moves. It's never stagnant. So they may show up as a color. You may see a flash of color. You may just feel their presence. The angels, as I teach them the way they've shown themselves to me, they have an energetic footprint, like Michael has a footprint of fire, of heat. So when Michael's around, you usually get very hot, or the room gets very hot. So you know his essence when he comes in is going to be that way. It's going to be hot. Gabriel, on the other hand, comes in with water essence, because Gabriel's all about clarity. So he washes everything so that you can understand it more fully. And he brings us that beautiful energy of clarity. Gabriel, sometimes more people experience Gabriel as a feminine energy, because that's the way that angel appears. And I've always seen Gabriel as the male, kind of like a teacher or a mentor coming in and just helping us to figure things out the way we need to understand it. So angels will appear to you however you can comprehend it. If you are able to see them as a reflection of a human, then fine, that's what they're going to look like to you. I see them as pure spirit. No judgment. There's never been any judgment with the angels. They laugh at me a lot because I have a million questions for them, and they don't look down on us. They're here to help us. They're not here to punish us, to jerk us away from something. They're going to let us experience what we experience because we have free will, and that free will allows us to sometimes get into trouble, to sometimes go off of our path and go the roundabout way, like we were saying earlier, Kathy, take the long route around to find that answer. So angels they're beings that were created, and there's different levels of them. So we experience the archangels because they're our guides. They're the powerful beings that can intervene if we ask. They're not going to just reach down and grab us and pull us in a direction if we ask. And the other thing is, we don't have to know a name to call them. That's our human thing. But if we say, that angel that helps me when I'm in trouble, will you please come and help me right now because I'm in trouble? Or if we say, I really need an angel to help me feel healing inside, to help me to understand how to pull on my own power to heal. Raphael's going to show up, or Raphael, or one of his guides, one of his angels that are created to help heal humanity. So you don't have to know the name. To me, it helps just to put a name with that angel. So I do. But there have been times when I don't know the name of an angel, but I really need somebody at that moment to help guide me. Then I do call. I call on the angel of GPS all the time. I'm very directly challenged, and they know that. So I'm like, angel of GPS, come and help me here.
funny. Yeah, I love when they first started having MapQuest. I printed it out to take it with me, and now I really depend on it. And it's kind of the lazy way. But you're traveling all the time, so you're not back in your same neighborhood anymore. The same gentleman wrote, "Angels are enlightened past humans who are here to help us," and he also wrote, "You get goosebumps when you sense them, and when they're around us, and you can
Oh,
sense them when they're around us."
you
So
really
yeah,
do.
so
Yeah.
um,
I'd like to address that. So, angels, like I said, were created beings. There's no limit with God. We don't limit God. So, if God chooses to, as a human evolves and comes to that place of enlightenment, and then they leave their human body, there's no limit that says they can't become an angel. So, I never say never when it comes to God. And I know there are two angels, archangels, that I'm very familiar with, that the belief is that they were in human form before they were angels. And those two are Sandalphon, which
oh,
works with the crystalline grid of Earth and helps us to really heal our Earth planet. The other is Metatron.
Metatron.
Metatron is a very, very powerful angel, and Metatron works on the etheric level, bringing in the crystalline grid from above us. They work in concert with each other. And when I first met Metatron, oh my gosh, talk about your breath being taken away, goosebumps head to toe. It was such a big, big energy. And I go, who are you and what are you? Because I know you're an angel, right? I feel, I just felt it that this was an angelic being, but I wasn't familiar with this big energy that came in. And at first, when I was communicating with Metatron, it was such a fast communication that I couldn't get it. I'm like, oh, okay, slow down. And this is what we can do, people. I'm telling you this so you'll know that you can do this as well. If they're overwhelming you with their energy, and maybe they're like the words are coming really, really fast, or the ideas, the thoughts, you can say, please slow down because I want to communicate with you. I want to understand what you have to say, but I'm just hearing, right? So I asked Metatron, can you slow it down to where I can understand? Because I want to get to know who you are. You're awesome, right? There was a little bit of, ooh, let me step back because I'm not sure about this angel. But once I got familiar with Metatron and then learned all of the characteristics, what Metatron brings to us for guidance and helping us understand what we've been through in every lifetime. Metatron's the one that opens up that Akashic record for us, where we can see what our game plan is. We can see what we came here for, what we've done in other lifetimes. Everything is right there. And so he has a huge job, and that's why his energy is so big and why he's so intense sometimes. He's a very intense angel, but he will slow it down. He will let us get to know him. And I love Metatron. I love working with his energy now. He's one of my favorite guides. When I know we're not supposed to have favorite angels, he's very special to me, and I'm so glad that I learned how to communicate with him. And I learned that big lesson from him that we can ask to hear them more clearly. We can ask for clarity. We can ask the questions we want to ask. What do I need to know? What about this? I don't understand when that happened to me. Can you make it more clear so that I can understand it now? And they've done that many times
That's
in my life.
perfect. So when you're doing these online wonderful, because you have an online show, you're in service with so many ways. Um, do you find that you are looking at the group in a certain way, like as one being, and then clearing with your either your time heals modality or in your angel work? Are you like when you do your broadcasts like you do for yourself? How do you work in group?
Great question. So, what I do, I can tune in to somebody's energy at any point in time. I don't have to be physically in your presence to feel your energy. We're
Perfect.
all connected. We're all connected in the universal consciousness, the oneness, if you will. We're all part of that. So when I focus in on an individual, I can feel what's happening inside of them. I can feel their essence. I can feel any place that something's going on physically, and you can, anybody can. This, I'm not the special being that has this power. I've just asked the questions to get to know how to do this. So as I focus on a group, there may be one person that I see like a spark from that person. I see something that's yelling out, help me, like an SOS. So I tune into that person. I can send healing remotely. So I send in Reiki, I send in time heals, I send in whatever modality is going to help them at that moment to feel that shift. And you do feel a physical shift in the energy when Reiki or any type of energy healing is sent in. It makes a difference because you actually physically feel it, as well as emotionally you feel lighter. Your whole body feels lighter. What I always try to do is see each being as their pure, innocent self. If we can all look through those eyes, through that filter, there would be peace in the world, first of all. That if we can look beyond the physical part of each of us and say, I see that spark inside of you. I know that you are the same as me. You were created the same as me, as a pure, innocent being. Then we can get beyond anything that's going to block us from being able to do that, to concentrate on what's needed inside instead of this physical being. I ask people to think about, who were you before the world told you who you were? Who were you? You came here as pure, innocent love. You didn't come here with hatred in your heart. You didn't come here thinking, I'm going to come in and create havoc and destroy as much of the world as I can. That wasn't even a thought. You came here as a pure soul. And then we started learning the worldly ways, right? We started being taught no. We started being taught right and wrong. So if you go back to that very, very essence of you, where you were just that divine being that chose to came into this human existence, then you can start from there to maybe change concepts that you hold, change beliefs. Look at your beliefs, question. I say question everything, but be very gentle with yourself as you do so, and say, is this really me? Or is this what the world taught me? Is this my inner essence, my divine spark? Who am I really? And then you can start seeing people as their divine spark, as their pure, innocent being. Yes, even those that are out there creating so much chaos, even those that are making decisions that are hurting nations. And when we see leaders, world leaders, that are just constantly battling with each other, what I do is I say, okay, I see your innocent soul in there. I know that this is what you're portraying. This is your movie role right now. But I see the innocent spark inside of you, and I'm sending pure love into that spark. I'm sending a message in there that you are divine. and that this is only a role that you're playing. So, as the divine being in you, I'm sending love for you to have and to hold that will hopefully spark something in your consciousness that you can feel it. You'll feel your spark, you'll feel that love, and that will create a shift inside of you toward more peace. That's the alchemy, Kathy. That's the change that we need to see, is just sending your love instead of just see how different that feels than when you think about somebody that's just so insistent on, no, I have to be at war with you. And we're saying, no, we don't want that. Stop. That's such a heavy feeling. But if I say, okay, I see what's going on, I see you, and I see the love in you, and I'm responding to the love in you inside, not this image that you've created for us to see, but I see
Right.
the love, the purity. It's such a different feeling,
Mhm.
isn't it, when you do
Well,
that?
it's also the idea that that really is all that is here.
Mhm.
There's the kitty. Um,
There's Hilma.
but how do you deal with people that are in fundamentalists in their religion? That most religions do have angels in them, but there's not always a lot of welcoming to the angels a lot of times,
Right.
because they bring new aspects or challenges. Have you had people resist you because you're talking about angels because it doesn't work with their belief system?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, my response is that religion was created by man.
right.
Religion, all of the different factors and sectors and different types of religion, that was created. That wasn't from God. God created us equal, equal. Nobody better than anybody else. Nobody higher up on a pedestal. Nobody that has a right to judge anybody else. And what I have found with a lot of the religions is there's that element of being judgmental.
Mhm.
Like, if you don't do this way, then you're
There's
going to that bad place. You're not going to be an eternal being. We are eternal beings.
right.
So when I find that resistance to who I am and what I'm all about and what I teach, I just send love. I respond with love. I
Mhm.
I don't have to take on anybody else's energy. That's a
Oh, shoot.
choice. So if there's something by others and criticized and judged, you don't have to accept that. You stay in your high vibration. You stay where you are comfortable with you and you know what you're all about. You know your inner truth.
Right.
Don't give your power away. Stay in your own power and stand in that divine authority that you were created as. You were created as a spark of God, of the divine. So you stay in that high vibration and don't give in to pressure. Don't give in to peer pressure. A lot of families pressure people in their own family that don't believe the way they believe. And some are shut out. And some people that find their own truth and their own empowerment, they step back and step away from those who are criticizing and those who are judging them. And, if you have to do that to find your peace in your life, then do that. I'm not encouraging families to break up. I'm just saying for you, maybe just take that break, just step back and just stay consistent with who you are and always stand in that divine authority. This is me unapologetically knowing my truth and speaking my truth and standing in that truth.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, I think that COVID, the lockdown time period, really had a lot of people having to reevaluate what they believed. It also brought the fear of instant death from an invisible enemy. And we're past that now, but we're still recalibrating our worldview, our purpose, our mission for being here. You knew your mission quite young, and are fulfilling it day by day, which is wonderful. Terry, right now it'd be a good time to show your website if that's okay with you.
Thank you.
Okay. So let me do that here. Here we go. And you'll just let me scroll down. So why don't you share the URL and
Yes. So you can go to www.angelspeakers. You see it there on the screen, angelspeakers.com. This is the homepage. On the homepage, all my books are listed. I think I have 11 books published now. I have another one in the works very soon. But these books that you're showing right now, the Midnight Calls series, are the angelic messages that happen nightly. They come in every night and share a message. And then the smaller books are extracts from the bigger message. So I have the tiny books with me, the little ones. You can open up any of these books and just get a message instantly from the angels. And they're small enough, you can put them in a purse, in your car, on your nightstand. I also do animal healing and communication. That's the Time Heals for animals. Changes is, there's going to be a Changes 2 coming up, I think in July of this year. And they're personal stories of transformation of real people that tell their story of how they were affected by miracles or illnesses or abuse, whatever it was, and how they changed. Time Heals, there's the book that was published after the modality was given. And I use that as the reference for the class. Everybody gets the Time Heals book to refer back to. Hugs and Love was a fun book. It was another journaling experience where I went through a whole year of insightful meditation and bringing forth things that really needed to be explored. And it has some beautiful messages in it as well. So those are my books. And you can, when you go on this website, you can actually click on any of those pictures of the book, and it will take you to Amazon where you can purchase the book.
And if they go to your website, they can see there's all these different ways to connect with you besides.
Yeah, if you click on, Kathy, if you click on blog, do you see that up there in the very top?
Blog.
Yeah, it's in the little square box going all the way across the top.
I don't.
Right above the word Angel Speakers, right above Angel Speakers word, there's, yeah.
Okay. Wasn't sure.
So every night when the angels give me that message, I put it on here on the website. So the very first one is the one that came through last night. And then you can just go down, you can scroll. There's 3 years worth of messages there. And you can pull up any of those at any time and read them. And,
what a wonderful gift. Thank you. Oh, wonderful. And then how do they, it's like your Where's Waldo? How do they, how do people find out where you are? Is that mostly through social?
Through social media. I'm online every morning at 8 o'clock Eastern time, just doing a little check-in with everybody. And this started organically during COVID, during the lockdown, Kathy, 5 years ago in 2020. I walked outside and nobody knew what was going on. It was a time of just uncertainty. So I just heard a message, turn on Facebook Live and see if there's anybody that just wants to talk. And I did, and people all over the world connected. And we just had a chat. We just checked in with each other and said, yeah, I'm still here. I'm okay. And then they asked me to do it again. I've done it for 5 years now. We come on every
Wow.
morning. It's called the Morning Cup of Joy. And we just check in with each other. I usually read the blog of the day and share that with everyone. And we do a prayer time together. We pray for each other. We lift each other up. We have a list, a prayer list. If anybody wants us to pray, then you're on the list. And it's now, I think, 21 pages, typewritten pages of names and animals and places. Yeah, it's a real mission. That's
Oh,
part of
thank
what I
you so
do.
much. This is wonderful. Well, everyone, please go to Angelspeakers, plural.com. It's ANGELSPEAKERS.com, so that you can benefit from this wonderful work that Teri does. And bless you for
Thank you.
your gifts and the example that you're setting for all of us to travel these changing times with grace,
Thank you, Kathy, so much for this opportunity to talk and let people know that there's positive things happening in the world, and you can be a part of that.
Yes, and focus on that, and you get more of that. So
Yes.
thank you, Teri. We'll have to do this again so we can talk about all the other cool stuff you do.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.